Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on one thing, single barrels. Best of all, you can try before you buy. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution so you know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and who from the industry may be coming in to visit. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. We are also sponsored by the Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers traveling minibars that are no bigger than a small purse or toiletry bag. Best of all, they are fully customizable so you can create the perfect piece that is unique for you. If you own your own business, what a fun and unique way to promote what you do. Check them out online at thebar2go.com. That is the number 2 in the Bar to Go. If you have wholesale questions, call my friend Isabel Clark at 504-481-1297. Finally, we are sponsored by the Neely Family Distillery. NFD is a family-owned business that keeps ringing up awards in the spirits world. Head to Sparta, Kentucky to experience the family history, award-winning spirits, and meet the Neely family. Check them out online at neelyfamilydistillery.com. Now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we talk about the expanding Bourbon Trail. My name is Miss Beka Sue. Please join me in welcoming my co-host Steve Akeley, as well as our special guests, Darren McRoy, Steinkamp, and Goeken.
Hey gang, what's up?
Hey y'all.
Hey
everybody.
Hey-oh. So yeah, we're going to be talking about the Bourbon Trail today. So it's at 60 and counting. So we'll give our thoughts on that and what our experiences were for the Bourbon Trail for ourselves and where do we think this thing's going, all that kind of stuff. Before we get to Goeken, who's going to lead our question of the day, did you guys see the recent photo of Linda Monica on vacation? Where
I did.
She looked tiny. Small. She's small anyway. She looked incredible. Even her shoes looked like they were huge on her. I don't know what was going on with that photo. I want a copy of it autographed for the shop. If anybody can secure that, I'd like to get that in the shop. It cracked me up. Did you guys see that?
Oh yes, the something is goofy on that perspective for sure.
Yeah.
Some weird camera setting or something. I couldn't nail down what it was either. I kept looking at it like, what is not
photoshopped in like Macaulay and Royce.
Oh yeah, at the official photo,
sitting above everything.
Right. No, not like that. So but I guess because Matt was forward and he's bigger, and then he was in front, and I guess it focused on him, and I don't know what happened there, but yeah, it's funny. I was cracking up. I don't usually laugh at that kind of stuff, but that one, that got me. So, yeah.
It's a weird one, for sure.
Yeah. Goeken, you said there's something you want to talk about. What is that, sir?
Yeah, so we're not too far out from the Super Bowl. And the halftime show, I wasn't necessarily looking forward to it to begin with, but I saw as they were No, they were previewing it, and I see a car behind the guys. The football halftime show guys are sitting there, and I see this car, and I'm like, well, that looks like a Buick Grand National. And then I get a little bit closer look when they finally start it, and it's a GNX, which is a very rare Grand National. There's like 550 of them was all that was made. Okay. Super hopped up car, awesome. This guy comes out and he stands on the car, which I was completely appalled by. But it just reminded me of I tried to buy that car or a regular Grand National for like 2 years. And I was at the age where I couldn't get a loan. And it was just, I was distraught that I couldn't have that car. Is there a car that you wanted in your teenage years that you were in love with this car but you just never were able to get one?
Okay.
And if you could now, would you buy one?
Yes. Yeah. I know the answer to this. It's a 59 Cadillac, the one with the bullet taillights. Yeah, that's my favorite car of all time. I would love to have one of those. Probably can't afford one. or really have the room to store it. The things, it's like a land yacht, It's huge. We're in a good spot where we have 2 cars. They both fit in our garage nicely. You'd add the land yacht in there, and that would take over the garage, and both of us would be parking on the driveway then. So probably not going to happen, but man, it is a cool vehicle for sure. I think that's the ultimate in cool. If I hit the lottery, I'd be driving around in one of those for sure.
That's how we'll know.
Yeah, that's how you know. If I come strolling up in that,
Steve won the damn lottery.
We won the lottery. Look at that, 59 Caddy. Yeah, how about that?
So I don't know the exact model of a car because that's not something I remember. But
yes,
this is going to
mash
go
bills
sideways
from
for me. I'm
37
already
bottles of whiskey. Sure,
well, it was
So
a
the movie
93
Cars.
Buick. You said you liked. It was 93.
The
Buick.
movie Cars. There's
Four-door
an
sedan.
old guy that teaches Lightning McQueen how to race when he's in Radiator Springs, and his name is
Paul
Doc
Newman?
Hudson.
Yeah.
I always wanted a Doc Hudson like car. It's some old.
it's a Hudson.
Oh, okay. Well, it's an old Hudson. There we go. See? That joke, I did not know that when I was watching the show. That would always be the car I wanted, but also
You wanted a Hudson. Okay.
when I was 16 and I decided not to get my driver's license.
Weird.
I was like, I'm never going to drive anything fast. I don't want a fast car. I don't trust myself with one of them.
Okay.
And I'm going to stick to that rule for now.
Stick to the rule. Okay. Well, get your old Hudson. I'm sure they don't have much pickup, so
Yeah. No, and see, that would still be fine.
You'll be
It wouldn't
fine.
be a fast
You'll be
car.
fine. Yeah. Okay.
But it's nothing crazy. It's just
Seems well thought out. All right. Here's an interesting one because he is a car guy. Steinkamp will ask him what
The car that got away.
Yeah.
So
Okay, that's a story.
I was, yes, it is. I was in high school, and my dad's was a big Mopar guy at the time, and so and we're talking pre-internet, right? So the only way you could get what cars were for sale was you'd go to the gas station and buy the little car magazine with what's for sale. So we're looking through it, we find it, and so I call the guy. I'm like, hey, we want to come see your car. We're gonna, we're very interested in it. Great. He said, I've still got it. Come on over. So between the drive from Arnold to Fenton, he sold the car.
Ooh.
1969 Charger, copper, with
I
a
love the
440 Super Commando 4-speed car.
Man.
Yeah, the car that got away. I actually made a model of it, like a car model of it, probably
Glued together with tears.
yeah, 6-7 years ago.
still glued together with tears.
Yes, yeah, that was the car that got away, and yeah, if I could get one of those, I would gladly in a heartbeat buy one. I'm like Steve though. That those things are huge. I don't.
Right.
If it fits in the garage, that's all that's fitting in there.
Is
And the other thing
69 the General Lee year?
yeah, I think so. 68 or 69. It's got that same body style,
Yeah.
right? And but yeah, now those cars are insanely stupid on cost.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe someday when I have an outbuilding with several cars in it.
Yeah. Becca's got an inventory of cars, so I don't know if is there one that you've just wanted, Becca, that you think would be really cool, or what would be a cool car for you?
It's really kind of weird how like when I was younger, I was really into old cars. I restored old cars. The coolest one I restored was a 1969 Super B.
Get out!
And
That
thing
is awesome.
It was black on black on black. The
Sweet.
only color on it was the B on the matte black stripe on the back had the yellow on the B.
Yep.
And I hated that car when it first came in. But I loved it once we finished it. But that thing sold at Barrett Jackson for like $101,000. So,
Wow.
so that was a super cool car, but a car that I always liked, but not it wasn't anything that I would ever. I understood that I didn't have any money, so I never was like, oh, I'm gonna buy one. I always liked a Firebird, like a T-top Firebird. I just thought those were fucking cool as shit with like the Phoenix on them.
Oh yeah.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit edition, of course.
I never watched Smokey and the Bandit.
What?
It wasn't.
But
It wasn't
it's-
even because of that.
Yeah,
I just
but
thought
that
it was.
car, yeah.
I just thought it was a really cool car, and I always loved it. When it comes
Didn't
to cars,
Smokey have a Trans Am, not a Firebird, though?
I'm not sure.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Well, kind of, but kind of not, too, right?
If it's
the
a Firebird
is a
and it
version
had
of the Trans Am.
yeah, and it had the bird on it, it was a Trans Am.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It had the bird.
Yeah.
Right?
So whichever one it was, I didn't really know what I just liked it. But even now, like the cars that we have, like I 16 to, I don't know, probably 25-year-old me would have just been like crazy about the stuff that we have now. But at this point, like I just don't really care about the cars that much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think they're cool. Like I think it's cool we have cool cars. But I don't really feel a way about them at all. But we're back in the day, I would have just been like, oh my God, like this is wild. Now I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. Because you get to live it too, because they always have problems. They're so cool.
Oh, yes.
They're
Yes.
Yeah, they're just a nightmare.
always
Not
problems.
like a new car.
No.
Yeah,
No.
they're a nightmare all the time. And like convertibles are cool to a sense, but like for a chick, convertibles actually aren't very fun because your hair just is in a big fucking knot when you're driving around a convertible, and like that's really not fun for a girl.
And in Missouri or Kentucky,
Or
a
for
convertible is practical for
3 months, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
And
You're
maybe of those months, like 6 days of the month when it's
right,
not
because you're
raining
not dropping the top in July and August, and some.
Like convertibles are fun. Like they sound like they're fun, and they're fun for like a day.
Oh, yeah.
Like I don't want to. Like me and my brother rented a convertible when we were in Florida once, and it was a blast. Like we just like had the top down the whole
for a
time.
rental car. Yep.
And it was fun because we were on vacation and we rented a Mustang, and like it was fun because we only had it for a week, you know. But then it was like, all right, well, I'm getting sunburned. My hair is it's matted down. I've got dreadlocks now. Like
they're loud.
Like,
The car shakes so much more.
you
It's
can't hear
stiffer.
anything.
No.
Right.
It's like, this is actually not as fun as I thought it was gonna be.
Right. Sweating your ass off at stoplights.
I mean,
Put the top up, turn the air on, get comfortable.
Yeah.
Now I've got my eye on. I know this person's got a '68 Camaro. It's blue, got an LS replacement motor in it. Keeps talking about maybe selling it, so I've got my eye on that one.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Interesting. All right. On that note, guess what, gang? It's time to drink. What is everyone drinking? Let's start with our own Miss Beka Sue. 1K, no C.
I'm gonna drop that. I've got some barrel bourbon here. This is old. I don't know what year this is. I've had this thing forever though. I don't think there's anything special about it. It's 11 years old.
Okay. Okay. Decent. Decent to solid.
That was pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Darren, you're next.
I got some Still 630 double barrel Rally Point straight rye whiskey, 123 proof.
That was just a poor form all around. I mean,
It took him
Like
like
I've never
three
opened a
times.
damn whiskey bottle.
it took him 3 times. I think it had potential, but yeah. Let's go to Steinkamp. And I think his equipment here works against him because he's got the super high-tech microphone.
I do, and then I always change the setting. But
He changes settings and he loses the stereo effect. I can only hear it in my left ear when he pops, and then he brings the microphone back. It's back in stereo.
all
It's
right,
weird.
I'm going to leave it just like it is. But everything I've got tonight is well loved. So we're going investment whiskey, our latest. This is the apple brandy finish that Steve was a collaborator on. So I'm not changing the setting this time.
All right, let's
But
see.
Again, it's
See
a
if he does
well loved
better.
bottle.
Okay. No, nothing really there. Nothing.
Yeah, it's basic.
Yeah. All right, Jim, you're next.
I've got a Buzzard Roost. This is the Bottled in Bond. They are new to the Bourbon Trail.
Oh, nice. No, Becca's still got the lead. I got some Baker's 7 here. Baker's 7. Let's see what we got here. Oh. What do we think? I think we're going to go. It's me versus Becca. Best of 3 here. Goeken, who won that?
I think that was you.
Okay. Steinkamp.
That's Beka.
Okay.
Hey, thank you, Steinkamp.
Darren, you're the tiebreaker.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't remember Becca's at all. It was before my trauma experience of trying to open a bottle. And so I'm going to go with Steve.
Okay. All right. Here's where we're at. It was thrown to a judge, and the judges in this case were 3. We have to accept their who they say, and it was me. So, Becca, I won that.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Remember who loves you, Becca. That's
Yep,
all.
yep. I'm just going to remember who's staying at my house and who's maybe sleeping out in the car.
Yeah. So there you go. There you go. Yes, Goeken called me and said he wanted in on the Dark Arts Barrel Pick. He's like, I'll just stay at Royce's and Becca with you. And I'm like, I can't offer up their fucking house. I'm not doing that. He's like, well,
I said, I'll come to your house and I'll come to your house and pick you up.
He's like, I'm good friends with him. I'm like, that's not up to me.
Our house is not free ring.
Right, exactly.
Steinkamp's lucky I said yes.
Steinkamp
about it.
I had nothing to do
I gave
with
him a few hours.
I'm not asking for
I
anybody
gave
else.
Steinkamp a few hours to think about what he had said, and then I answered back. I said,
Everyone
And if you'd
thinks
said
they're
no,
your
I'd
best
been totally fine.
I know.
It would have been just fine. I thought I worded it in such a way that gave you the opening, and I did not ask Akeley ahead of time. I was like, you know what? I've got enough relationship with our different things we work on together. I'm gonna ask because if you don't ask, you don't know, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I asked.
Goeken had this all figured out. He was just going to say.
Listen, I look forward to telling people no.
There you go. There you go.
Well,
I denied you that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that's why I texted both you and Royce. I'm like, yeah, I'd let them discuss it. I'm good. Either way, we're good.
Royce hadn't even seen it. I said, hey, did you see Steinkamp wants to sleep at our house? He's like, oh, yeah, that's fine. And I'm like, all right.
Wow. Well, that's
Thank
So-
you. It is appreciated.
So text
Thank you.
Royce. I got to.
Text.
No, because Royce won't text back. The text will always come from me.
right.
And so, regardless of what he says, whatever I
That's,
text back.
I told Goeken I'm not asking that because I didn't put you in a bad spot. Then it's not Goeken asking, it's me asking. That's I don't want to put you in that spot. So I was like, nope, I'm not doing that.
I mean,
Oh,
Steve
believe me,
doesn't
Becca,
even-
I retyped my text like 10 times before I sent it.
starting over. Yeah. Goes to
Do you think this sounds okay? Ask
PR
the wife.
person. Yeah, had Amy write it for him. Amy Presky, not Amy, my wife.
Steve doesn't even ask us.
Yeah, it cost me more money to hire Presky to write the text than if
Right.
I just got into the best hotel room in Louisville.
Yeah.
And worth every penny, Presky. Thank you.
There you
Appreciate
go.
you.
There you go.
Yes.
Akeley doesn't even ask us. He just goes,
yeah.
I'll be at your house. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I don't ask, no, because I could get told no. So you just don't ask. You're just like, yeah, this is happening. So yeah.
Hey, I'll be there about 5.
Yeah. Sorry, we only have 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Unless you and Steinkamp want to cuddle, but
Well, that would be funny.
Yeah. He's got very big hands, Steinkamp. I'd watch out.
There you go. Well, cheers to me, gang. Cheers to me. Big win.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Bourbon Trail. We'll do that in just a few. Okay, let's talk about the people that make these shows happen. First up is the Stave and Thief Society. Via their in-person class at Moonshine University in Louisville, Kentucky, the Stave and Thief Society is the place where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge an executive bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my executive bourbon steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Speaking of executive bourbon steward certification, the ABV Barrel Shop in St. Louis, Missouri has developed a unique partnership with the Stave and Thief Society to offer a preparatory class to assist you in getting your executive bourbon steward certification. This prep class costs only $25 and is available to take live or online via Zoom. Graduates of our class receive a coupon code good for 15% off your executive bourbon steward certification held in Louisville, Kentucky. This saves you almost $90. Additionally, you can collaborate with fellow attendees to split travel costs when you go to Louisville. If you're interested in signing up for the class, simply head over to abvbarrelshop.com and check out the classes and events page. Last but not least, we are sponsored by Neely Family Distillery. Royce Neely is the 11th generation distiller in one of America's oldest distilling families. A visit to Neely Family Distillery takes you through family history, where you can see all the artifacts and newspaper clippings through the years from this family that started distilling in America after James Neely arrived from Northern Ireland in 1740. Today, Royce Neely and his team are crafting some of the best spirits in America. Their bourbon and absinthe offerings keep winning top honors in the spirits competitions. Recently, their absinthe made history as the first platinum winner in the absinthe category at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. Neely Family Distillery is definitely a bucket list destination if you are a bourbon fan. Learn more about their spirit offerings, visiting their facility, and the awards they have collected over at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com. And now, back to the show.
This is Danny Kennard, which is turning into Freddie Mills. Y'all have a good fucking day, because this is the Bourbon Daily. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we're talking about the Kentucky Bourbon Trail.
Yes, we are. I think three of our hosts here today, the Bourbon Trail probably played some significant part of their involvement into bourbon. I don't think for Darren, because I think by the time he got really into bourbon, he was with the ABV Barrel Shop, and there's even a better way, than half.
I had no interest about the trail at any point in my beginning bourbon days, so I would 100% agree.
Yeah, well, that's maybe a mistake if you weren't associated with us. But at some point you got to kind of start knocking them off and go into the distilleries. I think that's the key for a true bourbon fan. Beka, same thing. I mean, she wasn't in Kentucky, and then by the time she got to Kentucky, she's working for a distillery, the whole thing. She wasn't really. But for me, the Bourbon Trail was a thing. That got really my start into becoming passionate about bourbon. Was the fact that I read an article that they were starting this thing called the Bourbon Trail, and went to Kentucky and visited the 7 distilleries that were on the trail at that time.
7?
7, yeah. There's 7 whole distilleries.
That is awesome.
I was still in diapers.
Yeah, including Buffalo Trace was one of them. Yeah.
I think I was, because I think it was 99, wasn't it, Steve?
It was 99. It was started in 2000 is when I went.
And Trace was on the trail then?
Trace was on the trail,
oh,
yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So Buffalo Trace was part of it then. So, yeah, so that was interesting. So
they left in 2004?
Yeah.
5?
And then they kind of, erased it. They were like that. Then I went on an next trail thing. I went on to Buffalo Trace. I go on a tour, and they're like, "Oh no, we're not on there. No, it's we can't be. We're not. We're owned by New Orleans-based company. We can't be on the trail." I would, but I didn't. I could have rose my hand, like, you guys used to be on here just a few years ago, but I didn't. Yeah. So, but that got me going, because then I got to do the passion. I toured all of them. You completed it. You got a T-shirt again for 7. It was a weekend. I got it all knocked out in a weekend. I took the wife and the kid. The 3 of us. We went and did the whole trail. It was done. Yeah, it was a well-planned weekend. Steinkamp, I assume you were hitting the trail, and did you complete any form of the Bourbon Trail?
So, yes, the Bourbon Trail was very, very important as I was getting my feet wet in bourbon, for sure. And when and this is how much it's grown in just the last few years, because I haven't been into bourbon for that long. When Brandy and I went the first time, it was a little itty bitty booklet that you got for free wherever you went, right? You could pick one up. And so I have completed that book, and there are 2 places even in that book that no longer exist. So that was 5 years ago, maybe. And so that's when I went the first time with my brother, the Shark. I'm like, hey, I need to get one of those. And they're like, yeah, that'll be $19.95. Here's your giant. I'm like, well, no, we want the little free one. This is it now. I'm like, oh, okay, or whatever it costs now to get your passport book. Yeah. So I have everyone's stamp that's still open, but I held on to it, and so I never got the T-shirt, but it was super important. It's very, very cool to do it.
How about you, Goeken? Did it play a part in what you're doing? You go visit someone on the trail?
Yeah. Yeah, we we're at Total Wine when we met, you and Jim, and we, I asked Jim. He was like, "Hey, we're going to the trail. Who should we go see?" Because I think at that time there was maybe like 13, 15 or something. It was more than you could do in a weekend.
Right.
For sure. Because
they'd also expanded to being, they had the craft and then the heritage. Now everything's merged and it's all one. But yeah, so at that time, even though it was 15, it's not like, well, there's only 15. No, there was more distilleries, but they had two different programs at that point.
Right. Exactly. And they weren't exactly, close to each other.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, we went twice a year for the first 2 years, and then COVID just put the kibosh on it for a while, and then made it extremely difficult when it came back. That's one of my biggest complaints, is that I think so many more people got into bourbon maybe during COVID that it's made it very difficult to plan a trip to Kentucky for even a 3-day weekend, and to get more than like three or four distilleries in a day, because it's, especially if you get 4 or 6 people, to try to get tours at specific times and be able to,
you have to buy in advance.
Yeah,
they don't all go on sale at the same time. It's not like everybody, 30 days out, everyone gets released.
Right.
No, they have different time. Buffalo Trace might be different than when Jim Beam releases theirs. So you got to coordinate all. It's almost, the logistics of it are almost impossible.
Yeah, it's a big pain.
So this is my book from 2019. It has 16 distilleries in it.
16.
That's it. 16.
Okay.
Yeah, I just counted through them. 16.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And who's gone away out of there? Who's
OZ Tyler?
OZ Tyler?
Well, that's Green River.
Green River now.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Same place, different whiskey.
Three Brothers Farm, maybe?
Oh, that might be the only one. Yeah, that's the only one.
He was going to say Jim Beam.
Jim Beam, gone.
No, that's the only one.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have everyone stamped except that one.
Okay. Hopefully someone can find that's. If anybody knows anybody who has that stamper at their house, let Steinkamp know. We'd like to get that.
Might have it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I have a bottle of OZ Tyler whiskey if you'd like it.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, the expansion
16.
of the trail is pretty interesting, I think. I think that it's just gotten so big that, like...
Yeah.
I mean, what you guys are saying right now, it's like, you could do it over an extended weekend.
Right.
And now it's...
I did it in 2 weekends. Yeah, Brandy and I did it in 2 separate weekend trips, like a Friday, a Thursday night through Sunday morning thing.
Yeah.
But, like, you just can't do it all now. And also, like, now they don't have the passports anymore, which I just think is a bad idea, personally.
Right.
But,
yeah.
like,
At least with the passport, you could keep track and make it multiple trips.
And, like, it feels like it's almost too big to, like, now that you don't have something that's keeping, I mean, you can keep track of your progress, obviously, on, like, an app. But, like,
it's overwhelming.
You don't have a book that's keeping track of your progress.
Here's what I wish they would do. Here's how the Bourbon Trail could come back and be relevant, which I don't think they're relevant anymore. And it's not just for people like us. We've been in bourbon long enough. We don't need to go visit all the distilleries. It's not really a quest that any of us are going to set out to do, especially now when it's 60 plus. But I think it could still be very relevant if they were the data gatherer for all this information that you need to coordinate your trip. If it was a one-stop shop that could say, hey, when does Beam, how far out do their tickets go on sale? How far out to, as you're trying to coordinate this, at least you know when they go up for sale. You put in a date and it'll tell you, okay, you need to buy your Beam tickets on this date. You need to buy your Four Roses tickets on this date. They could house and aggregate all that information because clearly they work with all the distilleries. And if they tell the distilleries, because they're the governing body, and again, they don't necessarily report to them, but I think most people want to placate the KDA's request. They'll fulfill whatever they're looking for as far as information. It's going to help them get more tourist dollars. I think they do that. So they have a unique opportunity to provide that sort of information that consumers wanting to plan need, and it's not really out there. You got to coordinate so many things. You got to, if you want to do a trip,
it's crazy.
You got to look at so many websites and times and when does it close? I'm going to go there a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. When are they open on Sunday? When you find it in one place.
Yes, I just went through this, right? So Bourbon Palooza is coming up in Bardstown. My nephew Tyler is coming with us, his first trip to Kentucky. And so I said, where do you want to go? Since it's your trip, we'll go wherever you want to go. So he gave me, and then trying to figure out, okay, well, this time, that time, and then, okay, how far away are they? Can I make it from one to the next? And what, okay. And then we go to here and, okay, I got to get, all right, I want to do that tour. Okay, you're in. Oh, no, I need 3 tickets, not 2. Oh, don't have 3 spaces. So sorry, you're out, right? It's, Steve, I thought, and maybe I'm misremembering, but on a previous podcast, like 6 months ago, you'd mentioned somebody was trying to put together a website to maybe incorporate it all, and
So-
somebody was,
Eddie Fieldhouse, you're talking?
yeah.
He's got it down about as good as anybody. But it's
Well, so it's funny you bring that up. So we're actually, I need to sign the contract with Kentucky Hug is the name of the website.
Oh,
and Eddie Fieldhouse is good. I mean,
And
yeah.
they've got they've got their website and stuff kind of like figured out now, with all that stuff, and like it tells you the time that it's going to take to get to your next distillery.
sweet.
Like if you can book it online. The problem right now is getting distilleries to sign up to do it.
Right.
And,
Yeah, he's
like,
got a job
that's-
doing it. Whereas the KDA could just be like, hey, this is what we need.
Yeah.
Do it.
And-
Well, if
And
they'd,
they'd all
if
do
they'd
it.
all use the same, if they would go to one reservation system, and
Right.
you could even go to that and go, okay, here on Friday, and you could have drop downs for this distillery and then this distillery.
How
and
great
you,
would that be?
And
yeah.
that's
Or by
what
region, right?
that's
That
what
would be
Eddie's
killer.
that's what Eddie's working on. Is like you can find distilleries that are like kid friendly or ones that are like dog friendly, or like you can see like which ones have openings on that day. And so like that's what Eddie's working on with his website with Kentucky Hug. It just the problem just is right now getting the sign on with everyone, which I need to fill out that stuff tomorrow probably, actually, but it's a really good, like they showed me everything. It's pretty user friendly. It's
Good luck
a
to
couple-
Eddie, because
Yeah, it's, I
This
hope
looks
that it,
killer. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
yeah, it
Amazing.
looks awesome. They have ideas of things that they're going to add on to it. It's just a matter of getting the sign on from distilleries to do it. We're going to do it because why not? And it'll
Yeah.
give us you can just click like book online here from like our website.
yeah.
And so they don't even have to go find the website, like their website to
Yeah.
find that.
This is the kind of stuff the trail should be doing, because so they just had a huge rebranding. Bourbon Trail's rebranded and all this kind of stuff. Becca, you work in the industry. We're going to take you out of it. Do you guys know anything that is done with the? I don't understand any of it. I don't know what has been rebranded. I know they put it all together. I don't know what the program is. You used to get a T-shirt or
Nope.
Steve,
Girl
I
stay
work in
with
the
it.
industry and I don't know.
You don't even know what it is. I
don't know.
Well, that's not a good program. If no one knows what your program is, and that's a big part of Kentucky bourbon, the Bourbon Trail. I mean, that's almost a catchphrase within Kentucky bourbon, the Bourbon Trail, and when it actually means nothing, it's it's
Right
like
now,
small batch.
the biggest, to me, the thing that's actually becoming more talked about is the Beeline in Northern Kentucky.
Yeah, well, they do a nice
Beeline
job.
has been
marketing.
doing a really good job of like branding and like doing all these things and like making like all the like everything that they do. Like they do so much advertising for the Beeline, and like they're doing a better job at it than the Kentucky Bourbon Trail is,
Right.
which is sad. And like that's
Yeah.
not how it should be. And luckily, we're part of the Beeline. Like we're
Right.
lucky enough to be part of that. Like the reason that we were in the New York Times, and know what? It wasn't because of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. It was because of the Beeline.
Yeah, that's pretty
That's
wild.
why we were in the New York Times. It's because of the Beeline. And
Yeah.
they are working so hard at the Beeline to bring in visitors for the Beeline.
Yeah,
And they're doing a good job of it. So
I agree with everything that's been said about the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. And it wasn't a big part of why I got into bourbon. I wasn't like, oh, I want to go complete this so I can be in bourbon. That's not why I cared. I like the taste. That's why I got into bourbon. But I do want to play a little bit devil's advocate because we're all pretty one note and we all pretty well agree on those one notes. They're not doing their job to their fullest. I still think the Kentucky Bourbon Trail has a place in today's society. I think they do a good job. Like, since these show notes came out last week sometime, I've been just working at the shop as I do, and several people have come in and said, hey, I went to the trail this weekend, and this is what I did. I went to the trail. They still call it the trail, even if you don't do the whole trail in a weekend.
Oh, I said it's a big
impossible.
Thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I said it's a big thing, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm trying to play some devil's advocate. And then the other thing, you can't do it all in one weekend. And to some people that might be like, oh, I can't do it all in one weekend. Every time I go, I'm going to hit the same 4 distilleries. It happens actually a lot. But the way I look at that is I have so much things to do in Kentucky. I can going to the same one actually harms me. I want to go try different places because there's so many, instead of knocking it out in 2 days and not feeling like it's an achievement. Now, if you say you've been to every distillery on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, it's impressive. If you've been to every active distillery, it is impressive. And sure, you have to track fit yourself now, and that sucks. And there's really no reward for doing it. But the Kentucky Bourbon Trail has grown from, hey, we will give you something if you come visit to us, is, hey, you don't visit Kentucky anymore. You're visiting the Bourbon Trail. No one says they go to Kentucky. They say they went to the trail. They went to the Bourbon Trail. It is this bigger than just getting some stamps and a passport thing now. And that's why they're probably having troubles trying to get different programs, different rewards for doing all the whole thing. It's
just a marketing term at this point, though. It's a buzzword. And again, if you say Bourbon Trail, you know Kentucky. There's other trails. Missouri has one. Colorado, a lot of states have trails. Tennessee, but if you say anything with trail, that is immediately Kentucky. I get that. That's huge. So they've got a good base. But I don't think they're doing anything with it. And
yeah, I think they can do a lot more. I think they're still being this big is not what's hurting them. I think it's management issues and stuff like that, and some follow through of products and giving a goal. But I think the size is not the problem
of the trail.
Yeah, I think the size is a fun challenge.
Size is the problem of the staff, because again, the KDA is only like 7 or 8 people. It's not a lot of people. They do a lot with little resources, really. So,
and how much of their resources go to their bourbon festival?
I don't know.
I
mean, that's a moneymaker for.
That's a standalone entity. I think
that's a standalone entity.
It's like part of it, but it's a branch off of it. Like,
okay,
it's
I thought it was ran by the same 7 people. That's my bad.
No, that's a completely. It's another entity
with its own board and everything else. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. I thought that was what.
But it is part of the KDA. It is, but it's standalone, and is also a moneymaker. I mean, that they're not doing that for their health. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but all the distilleries being alive is also a moneymaker for them.
Sure. Exactly.
Right. Like, and helping them out is also a moneymaker. It's probably not as big as the Bourbon Festival, but I thought that was what was sticking with at the time. That was my misconception.
If they could just hire someone whose job was director of the Bourbon Trail, I think they could justify that person's salary.
Okay.
I think they could. I think they could, reaching out and doing things like Eddie Fieldhouse is doing just on his own as an individual. That's not easy to do. Knocking on doors. Again, not taking away from Eddie or wanting to take away from his business, because he's going to have unique things like dogs and all that kind of stuff. He's thinking of a lot of different things, but just the ability to put together some data to help customers visit all the distilleries would be nice.
Well, that's like they told me that we could we'll get signed on so they can people can book online. They're like, you can check people in too and like have them enter their information. Like if they just are walk-ins, and I'm like, I'm going to be honest, we're not going to do that.
Right.
Like for us,
you can't. Sometimes 20 people walk in.
That's just not it's not something that we're going to spend time on, is like seeing where people are from, because like, especially where we're at, like we just see people from everywhere, everyone that's driving down the interstate. Like,
yeah.
We personally don't need to collect that data, but that's...
Do you think the size hurts it for like somebody who's new and they say, oh, I want to go to the Bourbon Trail, and there's 60 places? Like, is it overwhelming? Like, where do I go if you're really new enough that you don't know any of the names? Or
I think so. Yes, because here's the thing: is if you're overwhelmed, you're only going to go to the big places that you recognize the names, especially if there's no reward for going to the smaller places.
Right.
Like all it does with how like they've changed things up is like, well, okay, we only have this much time, so like you're not gonna go to Casey Jones, you're not gonna go to MB Roland if you only have, let's say, and I do think that people should like repeat customers. You do want them to come back numerous weekends or years, whatever. But like, you know, if let's say you do come back twice a year for like a few years, right? And you're knocking through all the distilleries. Maybe eventually you're gonna go, you know, I don't really know much about that distillery. I'm not gonna stop there. Like it looks small, it looks stupid. I'm not gonna go to Second Sight. I'm not gonna go to whatever it is. Because it doesn't matter if you go there. You're not getting a completion on it. It doesn't matter to people if they make it or don't make it to these small distilleries.
Right.
So in the days before, after
won't go.
Buffalo Trace left the trail, and before the reward system was taken out, would people be like, "Oh, well, I really want to go to Buffalo Trace, but they're not on the stamp. I'm not going to go there."
Buffalo Trace.
Yeah,
I know,
that's different.
and that is
that's a way
big
different
draw.
thing.
They had a bad breakup. We don't need to get into that in this show, but that's a whole show. But you know, Buffalo Trace, it's a rare example where both turned out stronger by breaking up than they were beforehand. Buffalo Trace offering free tours, you know, and their products in the beautiful campus, you know, and of course where they're located too works to a lot of things work to Buffalo Trace's advantage, and they were fine. And then you know, the Bourbon Trail, who thinks probably as they're leaving, thinking, oh, they're dead on the vine now, they don't have us. No, they did just fine too. So they both did just fine. The Bourbon Trail's grown, Buffalo Trace has grown, everybody's won. But yeah, but it's hard to match what Buffalo Trace is doing outside the trail.
Also, everyone thinks that Buffalo Trace is on the trail still.
They all think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
on the trail.
Right.
The trail doesn't have that much power
Right.
over the decisions. A T-shirt isn't the deciding factor. People go to Kentucky because they like bourbon.
But it would hurt. It would hurt, like if you took Neely off the Buffalo or off the Buffalo Trace. If you took them off the Bourbon Trail, and you know, take away their sign on the highway, it'd be a ghost town in there. I think. I mean, there's certainly some reputation, and they're known, and man, their job would be a lot harder. I mean, people do
But the
look to
signs
that.
on the highway are doing just as much. People driving through and like, oh, we can go to a distillery right here. I think that's one of the best things that the Kentucky Bourbon Trail has worked on is getting all the signs everywhere.
Hold on. We pay for those signs.
Yeah,
Oh,
they do.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah,
we
it's
we
not
pay
cheap, by the way.
we pay for those signs. That is a something that the distillery itself pays for.
Interesting. Yeah.
So
don't-
it has okay.
they're
so
not
if you left the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, would they take it down? Would they pay to take it down?
We'd still have our sign, but I guess
You'd
we'd
have to alter it though, because
yeah.
it doesn't say part of the Bourbon Trail or
Yeah,
something.
so I think it says craft.
You have to get a new sign.
Yeah, Kentucky like craft trail on it, so we have to take that off. Yes, Steinkamp.
Do you pay dues or anything to the
Oh, yeah,
Bourbon
of
Trail?
course.
To be part of the KDA, it costs a fucking lot of money.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the KDA runs the Bourbon Trail then.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct. Okay,
Correct.
thank you. I didn't know. that.
And
Didn't
we
realize
pay
that.
a lot of money to be part of the KDA, which
Oh,
gets
yes, I'm sure.
into
They do a lot for them though.
Kentucky
A lot of
Bourbon
legal
Trail.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah,
do a lot
yeah.
of stuff. So we're not bitching
Yeah.
about that.
Don't
but we do
complain
pay
about the
them.
KDA. They do a great
Yeah,
job.
we love the KDA. The KDA is
Yep,
awesome.
yep,
They've
yep.
made Kentucky so bourbon friendly. It's insane. So I am not bitching about the KDA.
Yep.
But we
But it
pay,
ain't
but,
free.
but we pay
Oh,
them,
it's not
so
free.
they should be doing a good job
Right, yeah.
because we pay them to do a good job, and that's just kind of how. it is.
And despite all that success, and despite everything, no one else has figured that out yet. I mean, you look at you talk about American whiskey. You know the biggest state to make an American whiskey? Tennessee is twice the size of Kentucky. Do they have their act together like Kentucky does? No. You think they'd follow suit and be like, hey, here's how we do this. Let's look at what they're doing in Kentucky and get Tennessee to take that over. Missouri has a group. They don't do anything. Literally, I don't even know if they're still active. I mean, I have no idea.
They are technically. I talked to a distiller about them. They're technically still active, but they've not done anything. I literally asked him.
Right. I don't know who's really involved in it at this point. I have no idea. And I don't think that, because again, what they're doing is they're bundling together and saying, hey, we're going to represent ourselves. And by the way, you'll be the president. You have to do all the work this year, and then I'll be president. These are small businesses. You can't do all that kind of stuff. The KDA is a separate entity with its own staff, and that's the only state that I know that does it that way, and that's how it has to be done. And I know there'll be some pains there because you got to pay these people.
We have lobbyists.
Yeah.
We have,
Yeah.
You got everything.
It's a big, like, the KDA is a huge deal in Kentucky.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
they are a huge deal in Kentucky.
Right.
And, like,
So-
they've changed. They're the ones that have gotten all the laws changed with stuff. Like, the KDA is a pretty big deal for us.
Right. And then you just think Kentucky is the epicenter of the American whiskey world. In reality, it's that definition of Tennessee whiskey versus bourbon that makes Kentucky the king. In reality, there's more whiskey flowing out of Tennessee, which is crazy.
And all the marketing that Kentucky does a good job of through the
Yeah,
KDA.
they do.
It
They
really
do.
pushes
They
that
do
forward.
a great job. I just wish they could shore up this bourbon trail thing to really help consumers. So that's all I'm saying.
How about this one before we wrap up here? So I'm rolling through Louisville on this Sunday coming up. And so I'm looking for, I went to the Bourbon Trail. All right, which places are open on Sunday? So I go to a place that's open on Sunday, and I'm like, oh, they have a tour that fits my time.
Okay.
I can't buy a single ticket. I have to buy at least 2.
Okay.
Really?
I've never had that problem.
I have to
actually-
buy it.
It's always my
Must-
advice. Don't go with people. Go by yourself. You can
Must
get in on
book
any tour you
for
want.
at least 2 spots.
Well, that's
Yeah.
weird.
What the hell?
Is it like a specialty tasting? Like
No.
a date night one?
Date
It
night
is
on a Sunday
their
afternoon.
regular
Date night on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it is their regular tour.
That is weird.
Do you think with 60 distilleries on the tour that a T-shirt or something is enough of a
No.
No.
But that's what I'm saying. It has to be data mine information. That's what they can give. And the good thing too is if they're collecting data, the KDA has that. Once you let that go, and you're not the ones that are keeping track of that. Your Eddie Fieldhouse is just as an example, or whoever's doing all that. He's going to have he's going to be able to mine a lot of data about who's coming to Kentucky, who they are, and all that kind of stuff. You're losing out on that information. They would be incented to develop something really cool just to help people coordinate it, not to be, hey, finish all 60 and you get a T-shirt, a coat, a hat, a brand new house, whatever it is.
Challenge coin.
Right? Yeah. And there's nothing that's really worth your time for visiting 60 distilleries. So I think we're past that point.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, I don't know. That's about all I got to say. I mean, I'm not being overly critical because it's a tough job, but
Maybe we'll
Just try
make
to do better.
T-shirts at the distillery that say, I finished the Kentucky Bourbon Trail and all I got was a stupid T-shirt I paid for.
there you go. There you go. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. Just think
I
that
would buy
turns
that.
everybody into a stop to buy that T-shirt. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. That'd be not. That's a great idea. You can probably call me to cut that out tomorrow, and then so you can use that. So
Copyright patent pending.
yeah. So I like it. I like it. So if you need ideas, a consultant, I'm available. I'm an easy guy to find. I'll talk about my contact stuff in a second here, Katie, if you're listening. Goeken, we'll start with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook at Jim Goeken or Instagram at Jimmy Big Hands, 2 G's, 2 S's.
He was just eliminated from consideration by the KDA. No, we're not working with the guy by the name of Jimmy Big Hands. Steinkamp, how about you?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Investment Whiskey.
Darren,
You can find me on Instagram at The Bourbon Adventures.
Miss Beka Sue.
You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Miss Beka Sue, 1K, no C's.
All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akeley, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website. That thing's abvnetwork.com. Check it out. Everything that we do is out there. Previous shows, blogs, so much more, abvnetwork.com. Come by and see me. The ABV Barrel Shop, the place where you can try before you buy. We're online, abvbarrelshop.com. Miss Beka Sue, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I'd just like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review that includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. If you like what we're doing, we ask you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
Great job today, gang. Farnets, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Adios.
Peace. Before we let you go, let's talk about one last thing. The ABV Barrel Shop in the St. Louis community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on a couple of things. First of all, single barrels. We are the place where single barrels live. We go to distilleries, taste through the whiskey, select the best barrel, and have it shipped to our store where we present it to you, our customers, by allowing you to try before you buy. We're also known for the classes that we have in our education center in the store, as well as the events we have with industry professionals from the bourbon business. If you are in the St. Louis area, please come by and visit us at 6 Fox Valley Center in Arnold, Missouri. Or at a minimum, at least sign up for our email and text distribution so you know exactly what's going on in our shop over at abvbarrelshop.com. This is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network, signing off. We thank you for listening to our programming and truly appreciate your support.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.